Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm on location here at Daniel's Peace Memorial Park, and this is a pretty special location. I think it has a lot of personal value, at least to the family that used to own it before they opened it up to the public, of course. So back in 2015, Daniel Waddell, he unfortunately passed away from opioid addiction, and so the family kept this park as it was because it's one of his favorite places to go, and so they opened it back up to the public now in 2018. So it's a very, very new location, probably one of the newest ones I'll be to for this on location series. But it's one I've been eagerly anticipating just because it's very beautiful and scenic. As you can probably tell behind me, it's just deep in shadow and all these different pine woods and pine trees and everything. So lots of stuff that's going to be really neat here and stuff that's very unique, I think, overall. And it might lend itself well to maybe like a landscape photograph, of course. But we're going to see here. There's also some open meadow out here in the parking lot. It's a very small gravel lot, and there should be some other kind of neat landmark and scenic features as we go further down this corridor I'm seeing during the pine woods. But I'm probably not going to do too much talking because it's just seems like a very quiet and peaceful place, these memorial parks, that is. And there's some breeze, so it might interfere with the audio, of course, too. But also just to really fully immerse myself into the location this time, just because I feel like this might be a nice one to really just get immersed in the quietness and the everything calm, of course, and everything. So I think that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm probably not going to talk too much. Probably will if I find any photographs, hopefully, talk through settings and everything, of course, and explain those to you as well. But I mean, other than that, yeah, I'm just going to be showing you some nice B-roll of the location because there is lots of unique features, like I said. And yeah, we'll just keep it at that at least. So for the weather, it's going to be very overcast. It's actually been storms and some really heavy rain. You can see rolling through on and off. There's actually dark cloud that's coming overhead right now, so it may just just get a whole bunch of rain on me. I don't know, we'll see at that. So but I'm gonna make my way around here, and we'll see how we can tough out the elements. Hopefully it's not too bad where it gets kind of dangerous and all that. But yeah, we're gonna hold out here for the next couple hours in the evening and just see what kind of photographs we can make, of course. So that's gonna be the goal, of course, as it always is. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. All right, I know I said I'll keep this pretty brief, at least when I'm speaking, just because I really want to, like I said, fully immerse myself in this location. It's just really nice and peaceful, as you can tell. But the first immediate subject, of course, and given how sunset golden hour light will be, that's up for grabs. That could be a possibility, I think, as long as the clouds kind of break away and nothing rolls in. Oh yeah, it's bright now. As you can hear, there's tons of house wrens, and I think I heard some mourning doves and everything. There's quite a few nest boxes actually erected along this path, so I already passed by like about 2 or 3 of them, and got some really approachable looks at these house wrens, which is pretty cool. But I'm thinking for right now I'm going to probably focus more on landscapes and take advantage of just the beautiful landscape and topography around me. And so what I'm getting at is the first immediate subject, of course, is these pine woods, at least at the forefront of the park itself. And yeah, I'm just really thinking something with the golden hour light, and probably something with my 16 to 35 f4, get a nice wide angle perspective. Maybe putting some kind of like foreground element at least into the image somewhere, and that way it prevents just really static and boring kind of composition, I guess, where it'd just be like trees and maybe like a sliver of the sky in the sunset or whatever. So that's just some ideas. I'm really still, as you can see, pretty close to the front, the entrance at least. So I've barely even scratched the surface of this 200-acre park. And so I'm gonna keep going along here, and I'm just gonna take in all the sights and sounds. But so far I'm really liking this place. It's a place that I've been highly anticipating, and for this being my first visit, I feel like it's really going to deliver on some beautiful photographs as well, to do the location justice, of course. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, keep going along here, and scout out any other compositions. But it looks like all the storms and rain clouds and all that stuff has actually lifted for the moments, and maybe even for the evening. So I heard it would clear out, hopefully, and it looks like it is now. Now it's just nice, peaceful, not even really wet around here in this pine woods, because a lot of these pine needles will dry up any kind of rain or wet, but there's also lots of cover because they are so densely stacked, I guess, in this entire forest here. That means, it would cover me from any, and shelter from any rain, that is. And so, yeah, we'll go along here and see what I can get for the evening, and hopefully there'll be a nice sunset composition. But light's only gonna get better and better from here on out, which is the great part about sunsets and golden hour, is that it's only gonna get better. So let's go ahead and keep going here. This place is, yeah, I mean, it's very peaceful, I'll say, but it's really incredibly moving. It's touching. It's very, like, heavy, just like emotionally. Just kind of like the energy I'm just feeling is it's like intense but calm at the same time. It's kind of weird. I don't know how else to describe it. But yeah, it's just, you can really feel it, and just the solitude of being out here seemingly alone, but you know, you just see all these different stories and reading about them, everything. And then of course Daniels, of course. And yeah, it's just a lot to take in, of course. But man, so I haven't taken out the camera yet so far for my trip here, just because I've just been really pretty much engrossed, I guess, in this, just everything that, like I said, the story, just the location, and you know, simply put, I'm just pre-scouting, I guess. But you know, I feel like I'm reached nearly the end. I mean, there's still some trails and stuff along this meadow over here, but you know, I think I've nailed it down to about, you know, maybe 3 subjects I'm thinking in particular. So we got the pine woods, like I mentioned earlier. The second one would definitely be this little chapel, and I'm thinking something that'd be a nice minimalist, maybe like a 1-to-1 square crop. Just the subject placed centrally in the image, and just doing one of that dead on. That way you have perfect symmetry and just balance in, you know, in the entire composition, the image, of course. So that's what I'm thinking right now, at least. It's number 2 composition or subject matter. Number 3, as I'm looking at these, is all these hay bales. You know, it's a classic Ohio kind of farmish landscape icon, really. So maybe doing something in like a golden hour light. Right now it's okay looking, but you know, the sky's just kind of slightly washed out. It's really not the most pleasing looking thing right now. So that'd be, you know, subject number 3, I guess, at least so far. So I got a lot to work with, and I got about an hour and a half so far, or at least, of daylight to work the subjects. I'm thinking the first one I'm actually gonna do is the chapel, simply because I don't feel like it needs to really have golden hour light to be something really interesting and make a nice photograph out of. So I'm probably gonna do it from the front side, of course. Right now I'm on the back side behind it, and because that front side has the door open, I just feel like that'd be a nice way to introduce and kind of like bring the viewer into the image, I guess. You know, that's the way to say it. And so I feel like that might be the nicest thing to do here. And then maybe even later on convert it to black and white and see how that looks as well. But like the hay bale shot, or at least what I'm thinking in mind, I'm doing a wide angle with this as well, would be probably something more with like the golden hour light, just because it would be a wider angle, and it would have a lot more, you know, there'd be a much more important reason, I guess, to do it in a sunset kind of way. And then maybe on my way back, at least what I'm thinking right now, is see how the pine woods look and see if I can get something there as well, like I mentioned earlier. So there's a lot to work with, and there's still some ground to cover, it looks like. Still something over here in this way. And yeah, just, you know, taking my time, just really just looking at the place and seeing what it may have to offer in terms of imagery, of course. So yeah, and there's quite a few birds, at least namely grassland songbirds, of course, in this kind of habitat over here as well. But like I said, I feel like I'm going to focus on landscapes today and try something out with that, since it seems like a very nice location to take landscape shots of course. So I'm going to go ahead and basically wander around. I'm going to see what's over this way, and then you know, just probably wrap the perimeter around this entire meadow, since it is quite large. And then yeah, I may hunker down and, you know, settle for this, you know, chapel shot and see how it looks. So this would be a nice kind of deviation, at least, or more like a evolution, I guess, rather, nowadays, is incorporating more like man-made objects and into my fine art photographs and landscapes like this. So this would be a nice addition to the portfolio, I think. So let's go ahead and keep wandering around here and explore, and then probably go back to the chapel here and take some shots. So I'll talk to you in a bit. As you can see, I was sweating like a sinner in church. So finally took off that really sweat-inducing rain jacket and took off the bag cover because it hasn't rained since I got here. I literally put on all that rain gear because it was raining when I got out of the car, and then it lasted for like a couple minutes, you know, as I made my intro and stuff and started actually, you know, taking the first footsteps into here, but hasn't rained since. And it looks like it's gonna be cleared out fully for the evening. It's gonna be a nice peaceful golden hour, less than 45 minutes actually. So I'm gonna be trying to be quick here and explain my settings for the 3 subjects. I'm gonna try and nail all 3 of them at least, and I feel like I can do it. So to change of plans, just to give you the lowdown a little bit, is that the chapel, it looks like there was some portrait session or something. It looked like there's a family and they're all dressed up and everything, or like a couple or something. And so, but this place is really popular for portraits from the research I did before I came here. So, you know, which makes sense because it is beautiful, of course. But so I'm gonna wait on that for a moment here until they clear out, and hopefully the light stays there. But actually, first I'm gonna do the hay bales and see how those look. So I'm using my Canon 16-35 f4. It's gonna be a wide angle lens, and I'm gonna try out the polarizer on there as well, like I do with most of my photography really. And let's go ahead and start nailing down a composition. But what I have initially right here at this patch, the initial hay bales I saw were actually on the other side over there, the other side of the chapel, that is. But I'm gonna try out these over here, and because I just really like the placement. I feel like subject placement and the composition itself is really going to speak volumes with this perspective image I'm looking at here, just with my own eyes before I really use the camera and lens, of course. But so far I'm looking at it, and I just like the way it's all kind of scattered, but there's some nice kind of like negative space in between each of the hay bales there, which just kind of gives it, you know, a little more room to breathe really. And so that's really what I'm thinking of doing with this composition here. It may not work, I don't know, but at least for the sky behind it, it's a nice pleasant blue, you know, as the sun's setting over here, and it's a little bit warmer, more like creamy orange color over here. But over here it's a nice subtle blue, and you can see the rolling away storm clouds and the cloud bank as well over here. There's the pond over the teardrop pond, which I actually hiked across or around it. It's very beautiful. And so over here, yeah, you get the nice rolling clouds right above the tree line and the horizon there as well. So I feel like something like this is going to work out pretty well. So let me flip on live view mode and see what we got here. So this is a lot tougher than I thought, honestly. So I'm at 2-second timer here, of course, because I'm on a tripod and everything, and I want to minimize as much camera shake as I can, of course. I'm at f13, third of a second, and ISO 100. But the lighting's just really gone away pretty fast because I'm over here and obscured by this tree line over here as well. As you can see, it's kind of setting over here, and it's just, the light's not really on it, so it's kind of just looking like a boring flat kind of landscape. Not really the most pleasing light like I hoped. And since golden hour is really fast approaching all of a sudden, and I guess, you know, I've been caught a little bit unprepared, I guess. I don't know, I've still check out the place, so oops. But I think from here I'm gonna actually abandon this composition. I just don't think it's gonna work. The hay bales are a little too far away, and it's a little tough to try and find a proper position to get in, you know, eliminating the background distractions while keeping it nice, minimalist and aesthetically pleasing. And I just don't think it's going to work with this. So I'm going to shift gears here real quick, and I'm going to go to the chapel, try out that shot, and then I'll try out the hay bales on the other side and see if the lighting looks a little bit better on over there. But I don't know if it really does, but you know, it's worth a shot, of course, quite literally. So I'm going to go ahead and go over there and try out those compositions, and I'll get back to you in a moment. All right, as you can see behind me, the sun's fast approaching now. It's probably about close to half an hour now left of daylight, and it's just now creeping below the tree line, at least from my position over here. But there's a lot more plentiful light, and it's just a nice pleasing soft glow. It's nothing overpowering here on this chapel here. But as you can see, I'm right up against it, and I'm actually at 35 millimeters, the maximum focal length for this wide angle zoom lens. And that just means I'm pretty much zooming in real tight there, and just making a nice evenly balanced image. And fortunately it works out simply because there are 4 on each corner of the chapel here surrounding it, 4 little pine trees, and then there's 2 stone benches surrounding it as well. So I'm using all these different things to balance out the composition, as well as obviously the main subject, the chapel, being right there dead center in the middle. And so yeah, it's working out pretty well with just the balance of it all and everything. And like I said, the 35 millimeters works out pretty well. I'm going to try out some vertical ones as well, just from the exact same vantage point and the same camera settings, which are pretty much the same as they were over there with the hay bales. I'm at f13, ISO 100. and actually now at 3 seconds, which there's a nice little breeze. It's nothing too strong or anything. That's really just moving around all the different cone flowers and stuff surrounding this little building here. So yeah, it's working out pretty well, I think. And then of course the polarizer filter, which helps to pretty much just make the sky more a little bluer and more saturated. And yeah, so it's working out pretty well. Not really having to knock out the reflections in the window, but the polarizer would do that, of course, anyways too. So it's got a nice glow on it. It's really subtle though. It's nothing like really orange and like warmly lit, but it is there, of course. I'm going to take a few more shots here, experimenting with the orientation of the camera, both from vertical and horizontal, which next to this L bracket means I can just flip it pretty much on a fly. And then, yeah, other than that, just keeping the horizon level, of course. I'm using the electronic bubble level inside of the camera here in the DSLR. And so, yeah, with all that being said, I'm going to take a few more shots here, and then we'll go back probably to the Pine Woods because it's a little bit of a hike, and I want to get there before it's really at sunset, at the last minute, of course. But I'm going to go ahead and take a few more shots here, and I may try out those hay bales as well. I just remember that. So yeah, I got a lot going on here. It's been a nice calm video up until the actual photography now, but now I'm just trying to rush to get as much as I can in there, all the while making them nice images, of course, to the best of my ability. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut up now and take some more shots, and hopefully I'll have something nice and hopefully decent to share with you here in the video. So I'll talk to you in a bit. Jeez, I just got chills. Oh man, that was awesome. So I just took some bracketed shots, exposing once for the sky and then once for the foreground and midground, and a little bit of the background too with the tree line. Basically anything that's not the sky and the perspective image here. But yeah, I just took these shots of these hay bales out here, and they're all scattered about. Took about 16 millimeters, 18, 20. I think I went up to 24 millimeters total. And it's just a nice even balance of all of them, as you can see behind me here, as it just just all the way to the sky in the background, as it's setting right now with some nice vibrant pinks and blues, of course. But yeah, that was just so awesome. I wish I could talk more, but I was just so glad to get that and get on a roll with the shots. But yeah, those are going to look way better than the ones I took over there initially, on the other side over here of the meadow. And while I'm actually behind the chapel here, I'm actually going to take some shots of this as well, done up in the same style I did as before, on the front side with the door open, simply because I feel like it might be better lit almost on this side, if I'm being honest. But I don't know unless if you don't try. And then from here, I'm finally gonna go make my way back to the pine forest, and that way I hopefully get all three different subjects that are basically my goals at the moment for this location here. But I'm gonna go ahead and try out this chapel, and make my way back. So talk to you in a little bit. All right, everyone. So I burned through 2 GoPro batteries in the making of this video. I took tons of different bracketed shots as well as the chapel, of the chapel as well. And I'm really tired and sweaty, but it's kind of cooling down actually, which is pretty nice for a mid to late summer evening here. Yeah, what am I getting at? I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. I've been really scatterbrained in this video, at least to end it on, compared to the much more calmer beginning. But the GoPro battery is about 6% now, so I'm going to leave it at this as I leave the chapel and the prairie meadow here. It's been great. I feel like these images are going to be really awesome, at least I hope. And on my way back, I'm going to see if I can still nab some of those pinewood shots, if I even get to it, but hopefully I'll keep pining for it as I make my way back. So I'll leave it at that. So I hope you really enjoyed this video, everyone. I know I did, for a first visit to this new location. It's been pretty awesome, and I'm going to be definitely back all different times of year and seasons as well, back again and again, because it's definitely amazing and it delivers on good photographs, I think. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This has been Daniel's Peace Memorial Park. Until next time, make sure to get out here. Thank you.